Beer. It is the world's oldest and most widely consumed alcoholic drink and is the third most popular drink overall, after water and tea. Every region of the world has its own brew, and Pasaka in Bhutan is no different. Druk. The name behind Bhutan's premium quality beer has been in action since the December of 2006, with its only brewery based in Pasaka. The brewery started with an output of 45,000 cases in the first year and has been producing staggering numbers of cases year on year ever since. And as of 2015, it had an output of more than 3 million cases. From fresh Himalayan spring water to energetic and dedicated people in the production facility to an analytical team that ensures quality in every stages of production, Druk is set at expanding itself in the international market with its quality products. Located at the foothills of the Himalayas in Pasaka Industrial Estate, Bhutan Brewery is the manufacturer of premium Druk beer products, and to maintain this quality and its name in the industry, coordination among several levels of administration is indispensable. One such man is the Deputy General Manager and also HR of the brewery, Mr. Nawang Dorji.
Namlo niktung chubdingi lo sablo tashidele seshuni. Dampara ngarai ngoti chipige ngimi ngawang dorji seshuni. Nga drukber zoda tikang na jingjong gopen be chashudi lo chutamda chi jui seshuni. Te ngagi dari zoda tikangi korle dumda chipige seshuni. Ngachi drukber zoda tikangde namlo niktung do inda junyepa tari chubdinlo 미제 다쇼 취진 다쇼 왕축 초기 고축 나이 스슈니 때 같이 조다 태강 고축다 라베미 이 직자 숨주다 지 스슈니 때 디가노 같이 기 프로덕션 홀스 홀치 세네 프로덕션 홀치 짬치 스슈니 다리 롱오 추탐기 나고나 같이 기 가림지 레심베 조이가 수야젠 때 같이 프로덕션 홀디 숨조추 스슈니 보톨기 니다 때 깬기 지에 세슈니 때 아치나 라베미 베로 숨자 딘주다 지에 세슈니 때가 아치나 그 프로덕션 캐파시티 고춥다 베르케스 똥당 아다르치 소추이세 님레레로 때 다리비아첸 님레레로 똥타 케스 똥타 쭈니 레 조추메 세슈니 디 조추미리 까치마 베아첸데 아치나 미제 다쇼 초기 람텐상포 텐샤메다 테나 베르기 총 제미 총파 속이 잡초르 마투투베 나미디기당 텔랭아차나 라베미 소 텔랭아치 데센소 속이 고벤 속이 가라기 세시퀴디 테 라베니디 이스슈니 테 다레파베로 아치기 니라 이녹삼지 같이 땅나와서 쳤더니 디기 합베 메니기다 때 야케 따니기 레와 데비 예스 슈니 때 나보기르 베로 디기 합베 잡쪽 나오기 레와다 멜람 예스 슈니 때 다리 센세 나보기 잡쪽 나오메딜로 나라에 가졸레 카든 렉소 예스 슈니 된 나기 파 소소 나올레베 아츠레 피게 베르가데베 조도가 아니고라 둠다지 슈게 예스 슈니.
Since the dawn of brewing, it has been nothing less than an art that calls for highly trained and experienced skilled individuals, something that only brewmasters have. So, what are the most notable skills that a brewmaster should have? Well, most importantly, an eye for quality, taste buds that has experience and the drive to improve that quality even by a bit, which can let the brewery have an edge in the industry. Bhutan Brewery has one such skilled brewmaster since its entry in the industry, and he is Mr. Herolal Day. He is even responsible for the ingredients that go on into brewing, which brings us to the ingredients. In general, to brew a beer, the key components that comprise it are pure water. Druk products start with Himalayan spring water, malted barley, as it is the only ingredient that makes a major part of the brew, rice flakes, broken rice, Hop pellets. Hops give the beer that signature bitter taste and is also a natural preservative that increases its shelf life. Sugar. And lastly, yeast. This is something that makes beer, beer. Fermentation will not ever be possible without this. Now, to set the brewing in motion, there are stages where malt is treated and transformed in several ways to get the desired output. The typical distributed control system starts with malt handling. Batches of malted barley arrive on trucks and are unloaded into the hopper. Which pumps them up to silos for temporary storage. Bucket elevator sitting right below it gets filled. Each bucket carries it out to a vibrator that takes in a considerable amount of the malt and oscillates back and forth that separates the unwanted particles. Then, it's dropped to the magnetic separator where magnetic particles, if present, are separated as well. After that, the malt gets destoned at the destoner, and as the name states, it gets rid of stones or relatively bigger unwanted debris. In this way, the malt handling stage ensures cleaner malt and goes up for milling. The milling process basically grinds those malts into fine particles, which in turn needs careful regulation as more finer grinds lead to subsequent wort separation problems. And when all of this is taken care of, the fine malt gets collected in the grist case. Then it's off to mashing. Mashing stage involves combining a mix of milled grain, typically malted barley with supplementary grains, with water, also known as liquor, and then heating this mixture. Ground malt, fresh from the grist case, is dumped into the mashing vessel or mash kettle where it creates a malty liquid called wort. The wort is then pumped out to the lauter tun, where it extracts the sugar from the wort with this rotating rake arms that does the separation. The wort then goes out to the wort kettle where it's boiled to a certain temperature and after a while left at a holding tank for some time. Now the wort is moved to a whirlpool tank where any further solid particles or debris known as trub are separated out. And finally, it's sent to the fermenting tank where the hungry yeasts are introduced to the wort for fermenting.
This is fermentation unit and these are fermenters or unitanks. Here, what produced in brew house is chilled to 10 degrees Celsius and collected into these fermenters or unitanks. Yeast is pitched and fermentation takes place. After completion of fermentation, it is matured, yeast is settled down, discarded, and after that, it is filtered. The filtered beer is collected into bright beer tanks. Their all parameters are checked. If it is okay, then this bright carbonated beer is sent for bottling.
Right after which the fermented products head for filtration. The brewery is an ISO 22000-2005 certified company which certifies that it follows the norms of food safety policies, which comes with well-equipped laboratory and quality assurance department. Here, all the raw materials, packaging materials, and finished products are analyzed. If any discrepancies are found with the raw materials or finished products as per the brewery standards, the whole batch is discarded. Once the quality is assured, it goes out for filling. To assure quality, the department uses equipment like spectrophotometer. It checks malt, beer, and wort color and the bitterness in the beer as well, and also measures transmittance or reflectance of solutions. Distillation set to check alcohol percentage in beer. Hand grinding machine to check malt extract and its moisture content. Turbidity meter to check clarity of the beer. Every sample contains a large number of individual particles that are generally invisible to the naked eye, and these particles can make the sample look turbid or cloudy. And also microscope to check contamination and yeast count in the samples. And then it's off to bottling. 11,000 to 13,000 cases get cased every day. Bottling starts with recycling glass bottles that have been collected over time. It all starts with bottles that are inspected for cracks. After a while, they go into washers that wash the bottles to remove any residues. The bottles now go through an inspection chamber where bottles that have not been cleaned properly are rejected.
Here we are producing 11,000 to 13,000 cases daily. The bottle is inspected. After that, it is washed by washing machine. Then bottle is passed through one inspection chamber. If the bottle is not cleaned properly, it is rejected, and the clear bottle is entered into the filling machine.
All the clean bottles are received by the filling machine and are filled one after another. Again, the bottles go through another inspection chamber where they are inspected for further defects and improper filling. Once they are passed, the bottles go on for pasteurization. A typical pasteurization procedure ensures that the bottles are bacteria-free and also to stop yeast growth that may retain in the beer after bottling, and after that the bottles are inspected yet again. The labeling area is where automated labeling is done on the bottles and also prints the batch number and manufacturing information. And yet again, trained eyes inspects for finishing errors. The bottles are now encased in cartons, 12 at a time, by the case packer. However, depending on the production rate, manual casing is also done along with automated casing. Alongside, for the batches that need to be canned gets in on the canning line. Cans save on space and are better for the environment because they're lighter to ship. But they're indispensable for the outdoors in other ways. Their shatterproof packagability and fresh taste. It starts with empty cans that are depalletized by the depalletizer, which pushes the stack of cans all together onto a conveyor. The conveyor takes it to a bath that essentially cleans it. The cleaned cans are now ready to be filled with beer. After the filling, it is sealed by the shimmer and passed through the check mat where the underfilled cans are rejected. Clear cans go for pasteurization. As has been mentioned before, it gets rid of bacteria and stops yeast growth. Manufacturing information is printed afterwards. A machine arranges the swarm of cans into groups of only a few cans, which are then wrapped in plastic packaging and finally packed into cartons. With the finished products ready for transport and shipping, the brewery requires bulk storage for its produce at a warehouse. The warehouse in charge Tenzin Tenlei makes sure that it keeps functioning well for storing cases.
I'm Tenzin Tenlei. I'm the overall in charge of warehouse. I have been working here since 2012. I usually look after the dispatch of beer. We have got three types of brand: Druk 11,000 Super Strong Beer, Druk Lager, and Druk Supreme.
Wastewater treatment plant, so-called ETP, collects wastewater from all sources and puts them in a tank, wherefrom it's put through a bunch of clarifiers, and from there sludge is generated, which is reused as manure. The brewery likes to brew the best beer while also being eco-friendly. The carbon dioxide generated during the fermentation process is not directly released into the atmosphere. Instead, it's transported to a CO2 treatment plant where it's purified. The purified gas is then chilled and is also reused in many of the brewery's processes. With all that goes on at the brewery, under heavy workloads, sometimes employees may get sick and require attention, and that's where the safety officer or Arpana Century comes to rescue.
Kuzu Zangpo, I'm Arpana Century, working here as a staff nurse cum safety officer. Here I mainly treat patients with gut injuries, aversions and lacerations, sometimes with the foreign materials in the eye. And, if I feel like patient requires a medical treatment, further interventions, I directly refer patient to Full Swing Hospital within medical staff alone, and all the medical expenditures are done by companies. And apart from that, I also have an NCT program or activities like monitoring a BP, monitoring a blood level, and mainly to keep a patient to update their health status. I conduct all the health educations, especially on hypertension cases and diabetes.
Bhutan Brewery Limited, the company behind Druk, brews fresh, stimulating and revitalizing beer in 3 variations of alcohol content in its line of production, and are also available both as bottled and canned and not to mention that all of these have equal domestic market dominance. The Druk Lager Premium Beer, with an alcohol content of 5% volume per volume. The Druk Supreme Premium Lager Beer, with an alcohol content of 5% volume per volume. The Druk 11,000, with an alcohol content of 8% volume per volume. Druk's demand has spread across the whole of Bhutan, and to meet this demand, it needs distributors from different districts that can make its products reach across various parts of Bhutan. Its produce has gradually gone up since its establishment. In the first year, it packed 45,000 cases, and fast forward to 2015, it packed over 3 million cases. Here's what a few of the distributors had to say about its performance.
Mingdi Sangidoji Selabi, the Diosadi Pasamti, the Negi and Motabi Mingdi Yangnur Beer Agency, the Vishu Sessionil. Ani the Motabi take up the data, Hamading the Motab Shengi Bedil, the heat do Anzumi Bedi, Telen na Niktung Chumi Dule. Na Bhutan Brewery sab theshim dale gozong digibe analera chamato seshuni be na ngochabela di college shuachin la da ani khepsa da ani college shuachin da khepsa de maba hema beosa namsami chi khepsa jachebe achi bom jade be ngaji choi te ip kapchile delen da nagi product di ani chala di lejum ten delen ngaji da maashebe Jonigi denle, tengache da kepsa da andise ache nyusube jabe, telen ngagi bunthona joise, quantity na joise junibela. Te maba dizume da kepsa da andise de maba namsame jachebe shani mela datola bero, te kepsa da andise de te namsame chungube jabe, ten dinatele da kepsa bero da ngachigi ani da Namesame Jani Mebe na Nale incentive zoom ani zoom nara jove telenamsa balkura joyce devishunivila. Ta na any product disiki take have the product da na hamba duela na Druk Supreme tele Druk 11,000 telen lager tele kin hamba sume dizume ta any product take have the product da phale mise disiki belo da ani thumi dichigi bero product de namsame lejum du se devara lapthom yela devara labdi dinadele the product hema le daru dio drabe daru dato lejum jodo se te dato na danna ba daru ani ken be thedi la ne tinna be te ane de namsame lejum jodo se chuni la ta ngagi temple ki theka have the de temple de ba na Punchling Maba Mochab this Samtigi, Devoda Nasa Punchling layer any temple beniging agi ani ye, tell Analebo da temple watching Sako watching agi Samsung her, Delen Gelifu, Dele Sarvang, Dele Timbu, Dele Samchi, Dele Sipsu, Delen Ya Poro Andise Atre Tando Seshunivilla. Bhutan Brewery College that Dumdachi shoot over Chen, the Bhutan Brewery na the Longo Mazachi, Nara na Dinalo Chamato, Dinalo Labe, Dina the Wonsabe, Begalo da Dato Chense, Beru Dina Chamato di, Delen da Shile Beru, da Lejumbera, Benigi Noxami, da Dochi Sumbera, the Sampe, Dizumbera, Benigi Noxami, Dinatele that. Dato Chense Bero, Lejum Bera Jodi, the Dalefar Bero, Lejum John Rewa, Homi Seshinivilla.
Ngagimi de Wang Chusei from Anmol Beer Agency Nale, the Anmol Beer Agency Chidige Lo Chtam de Chiasela, the Bodongadi Toto Lo Nidichi Jochila. Now the public response because those in public custom Chira or Druk 11,000, Nira 11,000, Druk Sangole and Mitam Chidula, and the Leshamvilla, the Sele Leshamvilla. Different the Kachidu Sochin, Machigi Druk 11,000, pure Himalaya spring water Gizondige, and the Leshamvi, the Tese Leshamvilla. The supply de ngacha phumthang tashiga punakha wangdi paro anebe anana sitlayila. The sale de lore increase juni dola. The sale de tan evaluation vi katira 11,000 di mitam dola ngacha na butan all butan nalo. It's also beer the chita de ngacha 11,000 mitam e sale evaluation vi.
Ngarage ming di chungwan de sijuila. Nga na choyang beer distributor le punchuling le judola. Ngacha 11,000 ki distributor ila. The ngacha na distributor lembe nahi the last year 2011 de le the 1 year plus de chi asila distributor lembe la. The sale ki thep da ebda ngacha na namsemi da jingi beer chepda di 11,000 ro jo mesel chuila. 11,000 the Foster the heat low and you the 11,000 jo mesel bi. The sale na ngacha Bhutan na chamche mala chikha da ngache phunching na indigi border town bolokha indigi chikha le phaya joila sire khongla re ni re gi ro namsame 1 2 case re bani do namsame di bani mi te ngache mashora na Bhutan na pha chong mi le se juni la te da to chinche ani the public ki ngache chikha customer gi feedback this one evelem da di khong the 11,000 beer shu thumela ngache da khong elam ni do the price beru ati da khewe the taste beru khong da main spring water ki 11,000 di spring water ki zone di da taste ya nam se mi jim to do sela te kheya the price ki have the nam se mi cheap do se juni dola te dato chinte di da shen beer da chep the 11,000 mam sale jo mesel juila supply se beru ngache na chi Bhutan na rai la de na phunchling ngache da bolokha da jagang na lefa achri India na lefa juila India de da ya mamra na Bhutan na lefa juila ngagi da nyamnyong beru experience beru da ngara na la bebe choyang beer na la bebe achire da ko 11,000 ki kole da beer ki desu ki kole da beer nampa na so da 11,000 poster hit nampa na so lesha do wala ni kole ya shi si juni la da kongi taste da kongi price da na gachigi thole beru da gachula da pre difference kongi ile beer ki difference da gonche da public response desu ani shi si juni la.
With an enormous demand of Druk beer products, Bhutan Brewery is always looking for ways to improve their quality that satisfies its consumers and keeps them driven. Brewing will always be their line of specialty, and with a dedicated team, they'll most likely keep their brewing going for decades and more.